continue.
Yeah, so we married February 2010, November 2010. He took a gun and shot himself inside the car. So you know this one destroyed us.
Yeah.
Right, this one destroyed us because, as I'm saying that, you know what, I think we are all having expectations. Nakho has her own expectations and I have my own expectations. So I learned about this ordeal that very same day he decided to commit suicide. And I was like, why was I not told about this? So it was like, it's not easy to approach you. Okay, it's fine, it's not easy to approach me.
Guys.
Then I was angry. I was angry at Nakho. I was very, very angry at Nakho because this is something that we fought about for years. Because she will text me to say, you chose your husband over me. And I would say, I expected you to choose me. I expected you to tell me what was going on. But am I such a bad person that I be the last person who know about this? Is it so? So this one broke us. We fought like a cat and a dog. Cat and a dog. I hated her. I hated her. She hated me. You see? So it was the most traumatic time, the most distant time, the most violent time, the most anything bad, anything negative about this. Now I was not yet a makoti, but I was already married at Home Affairs, so it was hell for me and my in-laws. It's deep because it's a story for another day, but it's two families, in-laws, maternal and paternal. But from the maternal side, I was going through hell. Yeah, and you know what? And the person that we are fighting over is sleeping peacefully. You know what? The abuse that is continuing now that he's in his grave. It's a continuation. I'm with a 15-month-old child, and my 14-year-old is walking away. Is walking away from me. She went as far as staying with her father's side. It was bad. It was bad. This is something I always cried about. But you know what? People will support you. I had my colleagues at the time, my family at the time, the support that I received from friends, just to, you know what, to be that anchor wins. Yo, and you know what, Nakho was a teenager. Nakho was dealing with the sexual trauma. Nakho was dealing with teenagehood. Nakho was dealing with self-identity. It was a lot, and I was a widow after 7 months in marriage with a 15-month-old child. It was bad, guys. It was bad. I never thought we could sit like this and be.
I never thought we would be able to spend a day with each other.
And you know what? And you know what? This is something that people will always say. You know what, Busi? There will come a time where you will find yourselves, and you will be stronger, the both of you. You know what? I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. But I remember the day when Nakho said, you know what? This guy was better than the both of you as my parents. This guy, I prefer him better than the both of you as my biological parents, because he showed up, he was present, he was, and this was my response to her. You know what? This guy has been grooming you, but I don't think you understand the depths of grooming. I think that hit I think that reality hit her. Because I said, no, you look into this guy as if he was your savior of some sort. This guy was grooming you. Because what I did after this incident, I did lots of reading, lots of research, lots of whatever, just to get myself to understand how can a person that I've been friends with for years, when I get married to him, does something like this. This is the guy I used to live Nakho with when I'm out for weekends, because we were working together until he took a transfer and work on the other side of town. How did this happen? So I looked around me and I realized, no man, this guy was grooming my daughter. And what attracted to him, I don't want to lie, I loved him. What attracted to me is the fact that he was taking care of his kids, all his kids. He was able to give them equal attention, financially and everything. I really needed that for someone to live my life with. But now this was really confusing. But yeah, when I took time and understood how grooming works, and every time Nakho would give me this, you see, you are this mother, and then I said, no, I understand where you're coming from, because you've been groomed. Abuse starts with grooming, because when a person is grooming whoever, they are all about gaining the trust of that person. And once they are in the head of that person, it's not easy for that person to unlearn that part of grooming. That is why the victims of abuse will always go back to their abusers. Yeah. This is the part we all lack information on. Grooming is the key word. Your abuser will groom you. Your abuser will make you believe in them more than you believe in yourself. Your abuser will make sure they are in control of your medulla oblongata. That's why I always say that whatever you do in life, make sure that nobody takes care of this part. This part, no. You must be in control of your brain. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so okay, we saying for me. Okay, how does she handle it? I'm really sorry. Okay. Another question says, do you think experiencing that affected your outcome, how you became and how you are and njani? I don't know still, but okay, we'll take questions between me and my mom, so I think I will both answer this. I do think it affected my life, but also I feel like I don't dwell on those things as a person. I'm a very optimistic person. I don't dwell on how my life went wrong. Do you understand? I don't like that victim mentality. I don't dwell much on how things went wrong for me. Where would I have been if this didn't happen to me? I dwell more on what can I do better for myself? How can I change my life? How can I live my life? How can I be at peace with myself? Forgive certain things that are beyond my control. Yeah. So, you know, it has changed me in that way. I'm a very optimistic, but also it has its, you know, faults, because when it comes to trusting people, overreading situation, like you said, you see the grooming part and stuff. I don't trust men. I don't care. Like, even when I see abantwana who are always around a guy or something, it bothers me. It really bothers me. So now it has changed me in that way, because omnyumdu who never went through the same experience as me would think, oh, this guy really loves kids. Abantwana, they are attached to him, you know, like it's no big deal. But for me, it's a different story. It's a different story. I'm like, why is he always hanging around kids? Where are his friends? You see, that's what happens, Kumke. How did it change you? And yeah,
for me, I don't think it changed me that much, because when we talk about like what Nakho has mentioned, men around kids, I will make parents aware that You cannot trust a male figure around kids, you know, because they are the people we know are the most people that hate kids. It's rare that it is a stranger will come into your home. It's gonna be that person who's always around. And I am one person who talks more about my life, who talks about the tragic events in my life, who creates awareness around GBV. And I think my safety, I'm very much conscious about my safety. Yeah, I'm no longer that person who allows people into a space. No, to a point that my burglar is always closed even during the day. I just want to see you behind that closed door. Because the thing is, it's the triggers. I do have that. I don't know if a person can just enter and try something. How will I react to that, you see? Yeah. So for me, I prefer that. I prefer proactive. So also I think I am overprotective when it comes to my kids, but it's something that I'm also unlearning, because when it's too much, it's no longer okay.
Okay. How did the abuse affect your relationship now that you are older with your mom? Okay, that's my question. How did the abuse affect my relationship now that I'm older with my mom? Well, the abuse did affect my relationship with my mom. Like my mother already said, guys, we drifted apart. I couldn't spend a day with my very own mother. I couldn't pick up my phone and talk to my mother because we were just not getting along, because I felt what I felt, she felt what she felt, and it was different experiences for both of us. Do you understand? Now I had to watch her abusive boyfriend. That's my experience. Also, I'm also sexually abused by the husband. Yeah, now we girlfriend, we wife of the abusers. Obviously, she want to handle into yake according to experience yake with the guys and with the situation. Namo ndifunu handisha ulwamo hlobo. Do you get it? So yes, drifted apart and we just couldn't stand each other. We couldn't talk. We couldn't get along. Also, I'm like, honestly, we couldn't. I remember there were days I would tell myself, you know what, Nakho, go and see your mom. I would go and tell myself I'm going to spend a weekend, guys. I would go to my mom, and my mom being my mom, she'll start talking about, yo, why and then she'll go on, and I'm like, oh God, she's still this woman. I can't. The following day, I'm packing my things. I'm out of there. I am out of there. And this happened continuously. I think it got to a point where she got it. She got it that I'm no longer a child. She cannot talk to me as if utera nomntana. And secondly, she got it that I don't like it when she talks like that. Like, there are always ways, guys, to deliver a message. But you know, like, there are always ways. Do you get it? And now for me, that behavior triggered me. This is the same behavior that made me for me to trust her with the things that are happening in my life. Do you get it? So yeah, it affected us that way. But also I feel like Sayesa Kula and got to a point where we're like, okay, you are this person, and this is, I'm gonna compromise as long as now you're willing to compromise and meet me halfway. If not, that still
no child, no mother.
So which one are you wanting in your life? Do you want to not have a child, or do you want to have a child? Do you want not to have a mother, or do you want not to have a mother? So we had to compromise and just think about, okay, do you get it? So that's what happened, guys. Another questions, how do you call your mom, like uti mama? Or I say Sisi. I grew up saying to my mom Sisi, and then my mother had my sister, so I stopped saying Sisi. I'm like Magandando because now, right? And it's weird because when my baby sister was a child, and when people be like, oh, I would say my mom, like, this is my mother, my sister used to cry. I'm like, this is not your mother, this is my mother, how dare you call your mom my mother, your mother. I'm like, girl, this is also my mother, chill. But I think we're too, yeah, since my age obviously, but now she gets it. But I call him Makantando most of the time, right? Another question. Okay, I don't think maybe you know my whole story. This question says, did she continue with your stepfather knowing that he sexually assaulted you? Hence I'm saying I don't think you know the whole story. There was no choice, there was no platform to continue because the stepfather decided to take his own life and kill himself, and I was left to take care of the mess and clean it for us. So I can't continue, baby girl, unfortunately. How did you mend your relationship with her after she found out about the rape? I can't even lie and say therapy. It mended itself. Did it mend? Yeah, therapy didn't mend us. The relationship mend itself, guys, and it takes time. Honestly, I think time did mend the relationship as well, and Jake also being apart in a way, and finding who we are now, because we're no longer the same people we were before the trauma. We were different people after the trauma. We had different outlook ngobomi, to get it, but the relationship mended itself. And like I said, it took us being grown and saying, do you want a daughter? You do? Good, then you can compromise. And also me saying, do you want to have a mother? Oh, you do? You go and compromise. So that's what happened. That's what we both did. We had to compromise. And
sorry to disturb you. And I also think without looking into this matter as suicide, looking into it as death in its nature, there are 5 stages of grief. The first step is shock. The second stage, I think it's blame, but the last stage is acceptance. I think those stages will obviously take over in one's life, you see. So we had to go through all those phases, and yeah, we reached rock bottom. Rock bottom will teach you things, will definitely teach you things, because Nakho was going through hell on her own. Don't think Nakho's life was smooth sailing now that she's on her own. She was experiencing the toughest, away from home, from people who are using her, people who are taking from her, people who come to her as saviors, only to do the continuous abuse, you see. Even on my side, it's not like I was sitting at home with my daughter not at home, like life for me now was even better. That no, again, life is continuous in its own way, in its own hell, in its own goods, in this and that, this and that, this and that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it goes back to acceptance. Even if she accepted first or later, or I did this accept, but we both had to go through those phases. Then I think acceptance is key, because you know what you've been fighting with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are fighting with yourself. Then you realize, no man, years have passed. It's the 10th year now, and I'm still sitting in this. Nothing is going to change until I changed how I do things. So I think it all boils to that.
Yep, I think we get your baby. So okay, okay, lo uthi ngasacacise into as why she never allowed kids to express their feelings. Oh, uthi ngase nigqibezele the last video and we can hear her side of the story, why she held on so much kukulisiya acaciso yonke into, and she never allowed the kids to express their feelings.
I don't think
I think you already explained this. It goes back to how you grew up, where you're coming from, your own childhood traumas, and
that continuation of parenting, of thinking this is the way of doing parenting. Because even I was a rebellious child. I know I was fighting with my father like nobody's business, because I think it's only now that I realize, oh no man, my father saw himself in me. Because my father was a rebel. When I started talking to people, oh, this guy was a rebel, so now he gained a rebellious girl child. Now maybe it's his fears, well, I don't know, maybe it was his fears or what, but yeah, he was not open to communication. So I think that's what I also took from him, thinking that it's something, but at least I'm here now correcting my parenting style. Because now I believe I really want people to express themselves. I want to hear those voices. I want to know when I'm not doing okay. Even if you write it, I want to know, let me know. I also want them to know when I'm not okay with what they are doing. So they must not look into it as if it's you again. So
okay, this question says, does your mom watch your story times? If yes, how does she feel about it?
I laugh because one thing I always say, I cannot live for Nakho, I live for myself. I cannot say to Nakho, no, cut something in your story, you must sugarcoat this and that. People must tell their stories. Guys, nobody is going to tell your story more than yourself.
Better than you.
No, nobody's going to do that better than yourself. I watch your stories, I laugh, I enjoy, I cry with her, I do question things even myself. Yes, I do get answers, because I will come home and ask, tell me about that one, you see. So now I'm no longer that mother who says, no, we cannot discuss ABC. We have to discuss these things. She has to, because it's education on my part, it's education on her side. That's how these things, that's how life rolls. We cannot be these uptight parents for the rest of our lives, whilst we are saying the girl child must be liberated. She's living in her own skin, she's living in her own truth, If the masses don't like it, it's not about the masses, it's about, you must live your life to its entirety, because at the end of the day you're going to die and you're going to say, what have you done with your life?
Last question, because some of you pretty much asked the very same questions, and as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, she already answered this. Okay, so the last question says, not a question, I love how you overcome everything together and still have a bond. Thank you. It's not a question, but I said last question. Where?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. To give more clarity on the abusive relationship with that guy, guys, abuse will change a lot about you. That's why I'm saying it's best not to stay if you see that, hey, this I cannot do. Let's allow people to work on themselves. Let's allow our men to work on themselves. Let's not parent these guys. They know they're at fault. They must work on themselves. It's their duty. It's not our duty. They must seek help. We must also seek help, because what I think also worked on my part, I did attend therapy for a long time, because I was coming from one hell. It's from pot to pan. They were both burning. I was coming from this side of the hot plate to that side of the hot plate. So I had to attend therapy for a longest time and be on antidepressant for clinical depression. So what I'm trying to say, guys, it's important to prioritize yourself. It's very, very important to love yourself more. Love yourself more. That will lead your way. It's important to be very much confident. I have my issues with people who will say, this humble. I don't like this humble part. I like the confidence part of it, because once you are a humble person, everybody is going to step on your head. But if you are confident, you will know what is right for you and what is not okay for you. Yeah, because people, they prey on what they see on you as a weakness. If you are way too humble, I'm telling you, you are going to attract a narcissist who are going to find a way just to create lots of confusion in your life. The issue of abuses, it took me years. I would even wake up at night and be like, I hear someone who's calling me Busi. You see? I remember when I saw this guy, we went to Bisho with my colleague. I went there for my uniform. So we entered Bisho uniform shop.
When you saw him after the release?
Yeah, it was after, I think it was after 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yo, guys. And he was on full uniform with a firearm. Whatever I came there, or whatever I went there for, I decided to stop there and then, because he came behind me. I didn't see him. He came behind me and I could hear this person saying, "Hi sis." When I was turning back, "You? It's this guy." I went straight to my colleague and said, "Can we start the car and go back to work? I cannot be here with this guy, because how do I trust someone who always told me that
I'll kill you every
he will put a gun on my head? How do I trust? How do I know now that, oh fine, now he has reconciled with himself, this and that, this is just a normal handshaking?" No, even when he passed away, I said, you know what, I'm quite relieved, because whenever I saw someone who looked like him, I would freak out and change direction, knowing that he's peaceful with himself. I'm also at peace with myself. Guys, we cannot, maybe people would be saying that I never got over this or whatever. This is my truth. This is the part of me that he took away. Because I loved that guy. I really loved him. And that guy believed that I was cheating on him, while he was the one who was busy cheating, chasing girls. Chasing girls.
That's always the case.
Because I don't do this cheating stuff, man. It doesn't work for me. But yeah, so guys, we have our lives to live. We must enjoy this planet. We must enjoy this planet. Let us decide for ourselves, what is it that we want with our lives? Babies. Babies. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for your questions, the love, the concerns. Yeah, we are growing from this. You are part of our family. We are learning a lot from you, as much as you are learning a lot from us. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys happy with the questions being answered. Also, I do know I haven't shared the rape story on my channel, but like I said, when I'm ready I'll share it, but for now I'm not, right? So I'm sure Bayabas were confused, but where is that coming from? We didn't know that. But yeah, some people do know, because I used to do a live at some point and I used to talk about it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button and share this. And I'm looking forward to your comments. Keep them loving, keep them kind, and keep them positive.